Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think now let's just get ready so we can start. Thank you very much for coming today. I know it's rainy. It's been a long day, probably, if you already arrived to Paris, if you just arrived to Paris. But thank you for being here. Today we have the RAES in Europe. First time we do it here in Europe, so it's very great, for us to do this big event also here, which we usually do in Korea. But thank you for being here today. The name of the event is Beyond Science, Transforming Lives, Empowering Beauty. We want to show not only of all the science that we have in our products, but also how it changes lives. So thank you very much for being here. We're going to have two different sessions. So in the middle, we're going to have a short break, so you can have some coffee, water. So I would like to introduce our CEO, Mr. Byong Cho. He's going to be the first speaker and moderator of the first session. So thank you very much for being here, and please welcome our CEO, Byong Cho.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Byong Cho from Escobio. It's my honor to host this event, and thank you so much for joining our great event, even though it's rainy out there. And every year we tried to bring the best speakers on exosome technology, especially at the INCAS. We are very proud to bring all over our speakers here, you can see. And then we invited almost 300 doctors for our RAES event, first RAES event in Europe, actually. And then please let me give you my 5 minutes presentation as an introduction on Escobio. Maybe some of you guys don't know much about Escobio, and here I'm trying to share some of our history or stories on our exosome journey as the exosome industry creator about 9 years ago. Next slide, please. Okay. This is the beginning of exosome industry and Escobio. Actually, more than 22 years ago, I was working at a venture capital firm to make an investment in the medical aesthetic or biotech companies. And one of them is one Korean botulinum toxin company. And then it was my first experience in medical aesthetic industry. But after many years, in 2017, January 3rd, I established Escobio to commercialize exosome technology to be the first next generation regenerative aesthetic products. So we have a short story, 9 years, but we have the big potential in this medical aesthetic industry. So one more year before I started Escobio, actually one of my professors told me exosomes might be a big technology in the future. So I did some homework by reading papers and patents, and then I tried to meet a lot of important scientists in exosome academy. On the right side, you can see 3 important scientists in exosome industry. Before me, actually, in the middle, you are seeing Dr. Shang-Li Lin. She is the world's first discoverer of human stem cell exosomes. And next to her, on the right side, you see Dr. Jan Latebar. He made one big discovery called RNA transfer mediated by exosome as a new way of cellular signaling. And Mr. Kevin Hickok, California in the United States. He's an expert of mass manufacturing of quality exosomes, and he is the only person who experienced phase 3 clinical study to treat COVID-19 induced ARDS in the United States. And we have done all the characterization study for 9 years by investing a lot of money. And then in 2019, I started my first lecture in the United States. You can see in the photo, at that time we had 6 people or less than 20 people. And COVID-19, we stopped our marketing and lecture for more than a year. But we restart our lecture at IMCAS, and now we are leading this exosome industry by building the world's first exosome-only GMP facility. We heavily invested totally $80 million investment for our business, and we made the world's first 2 patents. And actually, we have 70 patents, but we have made 2 patents in the United States, in European country. Now we have 33 publications. We are expecting more to be the most scientifically validated exosome. And it's my honor to write this article on Prime to share our story. So we say that the rise of exosome is the rise of ASE exosome and ESCO-Bio in the world. And we are very proud to help a lot of people which were resistant to traditional treatment. Here we can see one case from Inigo and one case from Mexico, Dr. Diane Duncan, and many cases. We have been generating, and here anti-keloid case from Dr. Jaina, Lebanon. And sorry, thank you so much for your case. And we have been generating 2 million cases until, and one great news on our side, microRNA now became another Nobel Prize 3 months ago, and we found our exosomes are delivering these important microRNAs to give new biological functions like regeneration or anti-inflammation. For last 5 years, we have been generating these 5 awards from Monaco or other congresses, and we have been generating big clinical cases with our doctors here, and you will see many great clinical cases today. Thank you so much for joining our great event. Thank you. And do we have video?
Lisa is a patient who's been with me for a while. She developed breast cancer about 1.5 years ago, a new one.
Actually, we prepared one video from one of our patients.
She'd had one on the previous side. Lisa is a patient who's been with me for a while. She developed breast cancer about 1.5 years ago, a new one. She'd had one on the previous side.
This was probably 3 weeks into radiation, and I was blistering, and it was very painful.
She had been so strongly treated with radiation that she had been burned all the way through the front of her chest to the back.
Dr. Duncan had asked me if I would be interested in trying the exosomes.
She had a really severe burn, and it was really uncomfortable. So I told her that, the current therapy that she was using, Silvadene, just wasn't working for her. It wasn't really helping. And so I made her an exosome balm, which was basically the lyophilized exosomes plus some squalane and lipid.
And as soon as we applied the exosomes, the pain was gone. It was amazing that it didn't burn. My skin was not burning.
And she told me the moment she put it on her skin that the burning immediately stopped, and where she had placed it was suddenly pain-free.
After that, I didn't use any of the other medications that I got from the cancer center. I just used the exosomes exclusively. it was a blessing, and I would absolutely recommend it, absolutely, to anybody that is going through something like that, because it's extraordinary.
And her burn had been totally healed, and she had no residual apparent damage.
The fact that Dr. Duncan was so concerned, you know, she made me feel like I was her only patient. Without people or doctors like Dr. Duncan, never would have known. So I'm very grateful to her for that.
Appreciate Dr. Duncan to help this patient, but we also appreciate all of our doctors who are working with us to help people around the world. Thank you so much again. And now it's the right time to introduce Dr. Shang-Li Lin as one of our first speaker. And he's a great dermatologist, world-renowned. Please, Dr. Lin, and you have your pointer. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me here. I'm here mostly to share my experiences using exosome for the past year. I'm a dermatologist based in Taipei, Taiwan, so I literally combine exosome into most of the aesthetic treatments that I am doing in my own clinic. So as we know, exosomes are particles that mainly secreted by stem cells. They are small, they deliver messages from cell to cell, and the most importantly is what they contains in those vesicles, because they are genetic information and a lot of DNAs, RNAs, and even more importantly, microRNAs that deliver such messages. So there are some criteria on the exosomes that we need to know. First is the size, and then also the transmembrane membrane-associated proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids, and glucoconjugates, etc. So what the exosomes can do depends on the source of the cells that they excrete. So even almost all kinds of cells, they excrete exosomes, even for tumor cells. So knowing the source and origins of the exosome is so important. Also, for humans, the components of exosomes contains nucleic acids, such as DNAs, microRNAs, and also other kinds of RNAs. And they have also some of the transmembrane proteins, such as CD9, CD63, 81, 82 for recognition, and that is important for delivering message. But even for plants, plant-sourced exosomes, they have similar markers that plays similar roles. And for the exosomes that we usually apply in aesthetic medicines, first, as we know, almost all kinds of cells, they can excrete exosomes. And the different source of exosomes, they actually have different functions. And even for some of them, they have just the opposite functions if they come from different cells. So for almost human cells, when they excrete exosomes, they have a role that they play in the whole mechanism and certain messages that they want to deliver. And that's even so for plant-sourced exosomes. For plant-sourced exosomes, it can be categorized into a few kinds, such as fruit-derived exosomes, spices, vegetables, and even ginseng. So not every one of them is well studied. So for different exosomes, some have the functions for inflammatory disorders, such as ginger. For others, they can even inhibit melanoma growth. So depending on the results from the researchers. And because the reason they can do this is because from the plant-sourced exosomes, they can mediate also intercellular communication through their cargo proteins, such as DNA, mRNA, microRNA, and other small molecules. So these pathways have been well studied for the past decades. And so the more we know about the exosome we are using, the more we are more confident about what we can do with it. These are the main fields of the exosomes in the extended mechanisms that we can use on our daily basis, such as wound healing, hair growth, anti-aging, and hyperpigmentations. So the mechanisms of these exosomes all relies mainly on the microRNAs that contains in the exosomes. So you can see for the scar, for skin rejuvenation, for pigmentation and hair growth, they are all associated with different microRNA and different pathways. So this tells us that what contains in the exosomes are so important so that we are able to know what we can do with it. And then, of course, even the quality, the concentration, the purity are also important. And these are the results from some of the studies of human cell exosomes that tells you the associated pathways from such exosomes that they can do. So it includes wound healing, hyperpigmentation, hair loss, and some of the even associated with the anti-aging. So all of them has different mechanisms as long as they are well studied. So to choose the right exosome product, how do we choose the right one? First, of course, we need to know the purity and also the facility for ExoBio. They have the GMP facility that produce exosome. They have lots of publications because through these publications, at least what we know about the product and what are the indications that we can cover on our daily basis. And they have patent, they have high quality, good purity, and even more important, the stability. So for ExoBio exosomes, these are the microRNAs that so far that we have known to be applied on the indications that in our treatment, such as microRNA 574 and 130. They can promote neocollagenesis, and in addition to them, microRNA 21 and others, they are also associated with similar effect. And the microRNA LED7, it's associated with anti-inflammation, anti-cancer. 130 associated with collagen synthesis, 122 hair growth. 22, 21, 23, 29 associated with cellular proliferation and anti-scarring. And 125 associated with anti-melanogenesis. So these are the microRNAs contains in the exosomes from the rose stem cell. So here we have even more information about the microRNAs contains in the product. There are at least 28 types of microRNAs matched with human microRNAs, and each of them have their own function, such as anti-inflammation, anti-scarring, and cell proliferation. And there are top 6 microRNAs and their functions listed on the right. And on the publications, we can also see what the product can do. In this publication, it says combining the rose stem cell exosomes into the melasma treatment after microneedling. It helps to improve the pigments and stabilize the result for a long period of time. So it actually can enhance what we can do with our original treatment and take it to the next level. So in these publications, it shows that improves the spots, improves the wrinkles, texture, in addition to the pigments. So almost every one of the patients after the treatment, not just the pigmentations has been improved, but also they can see other improvements, which is usually some extra surprises for them. And in this publication, it says that by combining the stem cell exosomes into the CO2 fractional laser, it also helps to improve the acne scars, almost all kinds of acne scars. The mostly improved one is the M-shaped acne scar, followed by the U-shaped and ice-pick. But in general, all of the treatment results can be enhanced by using the exosomes after the laser treatment. So in most of the countries, it is not allowed to inject exosomes directly into the skin, and actually we don't need to do that either, as long as we have adequate ways of delivering exosomes. For one, myself uses one of the devices called Potenza. It has the drug delivery handpiece that can efficiently delivers the exosomes into the skin after through the negative pressure after the delivery of the micro needling in the skin. And also the other devices I frequently combine is one of the device called Target Cool. It delivers the crystallized particles from at the front of the device, and then we can spread the product into the skin with or without wounds into certain depth of the skin, so that can increase the penetration of the product. So this is a crystallized solution, and when we spread, it can penetrate the skin due to its supersonic speed. So by using the device, it is said that it can penetrate the skin up to 0.3 millimeter, so which is below the DE junction. So it can be make the treatment itself more efficient and useful. And without any wound, it increases the penetration up to 165%. And with wounds, it can increase almost 200% of the penetration. So not just to enhance the result, but it can also accelerate the recovery of the treatment itself. So in this one of my first cases that I treated with exosome, I did split face. One side, I used Target Cool to deliver exosome. The other side, I just did the topical application. And we can see 1 week after the treatment, the side that I use the Target Cool, we can see the skin recovery is better than the other side. For the other side, there is slower repigmentations on the other side of the face. And then 1 month after 2 sessions, the side that I used Target Cool to deliver, it also improved the skin quality slightly better, but because both sides applied exosomes, so both sides have a good improvement. And this one is also interesting that I used the device to deliver exosomes on the right side of her face, the other side just topical. And we can see 2 months after 1 session, the skin textures that I used the device to deliver, it has better skin texture improvement. And over time, by the time of 6 months, we can see the left side of her face, it's the skin has more wrinkles, and the other side has better improvement of the skin quality on the right side of her face. And also, this patient has melasma. So over time, 2 months, even 2 months after 1 single treatment, we can still see very nice improvement of the pigments. And at 6 months after the treatment, the improvement remains very well. And erythema improves as well. We can see there was less and less erythema as over time. And in even 6 months after only 1 single treatment, we can see a very nice improvement of the telangiectasia. And in this case as well, 1 month after 2 sessions, both sides of the face has the significant improvement of telangiectasia by using real stem exosome. And of course, not just the telangiectasia, we can also see the nice skin tone improvement in addition to the expected improvement of the pores on the face. And then we can see the nice improvement of the skin tightening, even for the submental area, due to the improved skin elasticity on the face. The submental areas are also improved along with less double chin. And also on this image, we can see a very nice improvement of telangiectasia that's similar to the previous one. And also in this case, one side I use exosome, the other side I use exosome, but without delivering it with target cool. So we can see 1 week after the treatment, the other side that I just did topical applications still have some crust on the side, and the other side there's very nice improvement. And this is a case that I use the exosomes after the microneedling RF. This is a case of melasma, so we can see the improvement of the skin tone and also improvement of the melasma and also the fine wrinkles. So almost every one of the patients, they are happy about the improvement in multiple indications, even the pores, the skin quality, and the way they feel it, that they feel the skin is much more smooth. And this is a case that I do exosomes only on one side. The other side, just microneedling RF. So we can see 2 weeks after one session, the side that originally has very significant redness, it improves much better than the other side. And if we compare both sides, there is a boundary on the nose that we can see the side using exosomes has much better improvement. And also in this case as well, 1 day after the treatment, the side that applied exosomes has better improvement in terms of the skin tone and a recovery. So we can see the exosome side has much better recovery than the other side. And then also this one, we can see, especially the mandibular area, the improvement is much more significant than the other side without exosome. And 5 days after the exosome, the other side, we can still see some crust, but the other side with exosomes has much more better recovery. And 2 weeks after the treatment, the improvement began to show much better than the other side. And this is a case that came to me for fine wrinkle and pore treatment. And the main concern is her downtime, because she didn't want her husband to find out that she did something. So I recommend her to use exosomes after the treatment to help her with better, faster recovery. So she's happy about the result, especially the redness after the treatment disappears very quickly, and also the result is much better than without combining exosome. And this is the case with rosacea, and she frequently has central facial erythema. So whenever it happens, we can see there is periocular edema with a little bit drooping in the central face due to the edema. And this is 1 month after one session of microneedling RF that I deliver exosome after it. We can see there's no more edema, and the redness of the skin also improved a lot, and she was very happy about the result. So redness after the CO2 fractional laser is also a concern because of the PIE, prolonged erythema after treatment. Many patients, they hesitate, and also for Asians, we tend to have higher risk of PIH after the treatment. So by using exosomes after the treatment, not only the improvement is much better than without using it, but also it kind of shortens the downtimes, and patients are quite happy about the result without having any concerns of the PIE and the PIH, and also the original treatment results from the treatment. And this is another case that I combine exosome with the CO2 fractional laser. So in conclusions, exosomes, of course, of different sources, they can do different things. So the main point is that we need to use the right exosome. And row stem exosomes, they are quite similar to the human exosomes. We can use it for skin repairing, regeneration, improve skin quality, and most importantly, it literally can go with a lot of the original treatments that we already doing on our daily basis, and then it can also enhance the treatment result. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your great lecture. It's the combination with target core and other devices are so impressive. Our next speaker is Dr. Sophie Menkes. She has been a great friend with us for many years, maybe from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then she's gonna talk about her experience about skin barriers and intimate area especially. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. So thank you for the invitation. So I'm Dr. Sophie Menkes. I am the medical director of the Center of Aesthetic and Regenerative Medicine in the Clinique Naissance in Geneva. Aging is a disease, so we need to repair. We need to repair our skin because we need to repair the extracellular matrix. We need to repair the epidermal layer, and we need to repair our telomere. So all this layer have different cells in the epidermis, dermis, hypodermis, and we need the property of the exosome. First of all, the angiogenic properties, and also the regulation of the inflammation, and we need also the collagen synthesis and the anti-aging effect. In the atopic dermatitis, we need this effect on the inflammation, and we have now multiple studies showing that in this case of atopic dermatitis, in a very chronic case, instead of corticoids, we can use the exosome with a very good result. Also, in wound healing, at each stage of the reparation of the skin, the exosome will promote the proliferation, the differentiation, and the revitalization of the tissue. So this is the study of exocobio, and you can see also the very good result. So you can see that with the exosome, we will act on all parts of the aging. We start to have a lot of communication and a lot of publication on this topic. And I wanted to share this article because it was interesting to compare the cells with the product, the secretome of the cells. And at the end, we saw that it's not possible because we don't know exactly what is the secretome of the cells and how many exosomes we have when we graft a cell. We know that we can combine with everything. We can combine with a dermapen, we can combine with a laser, we can combine with radiofrequency. So we can add the exosome to all parts of our work. At the clinic, of course, we use the exosome derived from the raw stem cells because we are not allowed to use the human one. My colleague told you it's because we have a lot of similarities, the shape, also 27 microRNA in common, and also because the raw stem cells exosome, they can also stimulate our exosome in the skin. So at the clinic, we use the microneedling or the turtle pin. It's very easy to use, or we use also exosome after a laser. We perform 5 sessions between 2 and 4 weeks apart, and to maintain the result, we ask the patient to come back every 3 months. So this is a result after 3 sessions, and you can see the improvement on the skin texture, the fine lines, the little wrinkles around the orbital area, and that we have a good improvement of the texture of the skin. This is a difficult case of rosacea, and you can see that after only 2 sessions, by just applying the exosome, it's not microneedling, I just apply the exosome on the skin, and you can see that we obtain a very good result. We can measure this result with the quantifier analysis, and you can see that we have a very good lifting effect. It's other patients with exactly the same result on the texture of the skin, the pore size, and the wrinkle. But our patients, they don't want to have something invasive anymore. Our patients, they want something easy, and they don't want to come back at the clinic all the time. And if they can do it at home, it's better. It's why we have a growing interest in topical therapy. And we know that we can use this topical exosome because of the double lipidic membrane that and because the exosomes, they are really tiny extracellular vesicles. So they can go through the skin even if we apply them. So of course, if we inject them, we know that there will be a difference on penetration of the exosome in the skin between apply or inject. And it's difficult to analyze, and our colleague showed you some picture before and after. And we don't know yet if after 3 months we have same result or not same result. And we don't know yet if we need to have a deeper penetration or if it's only in the epidermis, if it's enough. We need the studies. So exobalm is very interesting because in one part we have the exosome lyophilized, and in other part we have the balm with the tranexamic acid, with madecassomate, depantonel, and niacinamide. So we will repair the skin after all the procedure. At the clinic, we decide to combine the Pico Plus laser from Lutronic to the exobalm, and we treat the patient with 1 session of Pico Plus, and then we ask to our patient to apply the balm morning and evening for 21 days. And you can see on the frontal area, on the melasma, a very good improvement. And you can see also that we can measure the depth of the wrinkle, and it was really impressive to see that we have objective measurement of the wrinkle after only 1 Pico Plus session and 21 days of exobalm. So it is obvious that after 4 days, the patient, she can go back to work. So it's very important that we have less side effect by applying exobalm after the laser. And in this case too, we can measure the depth of the wrinkle and see a huge improvement before and after. And we can also, with the help of the quantifier, measure the improvement. And you can see that we have almost 2 millimeters of lifting effect after only 21 days. So it's in my opinion, a very good improvement we can achieve. I wanted also to share this picture with you. It's a 3 session of Pico Plus laser, and the patient applied also the balm. And you can see that between April and November this year, the melasma is totally gone. So, and you can see also on the inflammation that the inflammation is gone too. So it's a very good result in my opinion. So of course the patient is really happy because I don't know what is the other treatment that can give us this kind of result. My colleague showed you this publication, so I'm going through. Safety and efficacy of the exosome is always a concern. This is a very interesting publication, and they claim that on 633 articles, only 9 studies were identified from the initial search on the clinical trial. Regarding the hair growth, the exosomes are also very interesting because of the key signaling pathway. It will change the pathway, and also because of the microRNA and all these signals. So we will act in in the dermal papilla. And of course, this is a huge evolution of the medicine because we all know that we have a lot of side effects with the finasteride, dutasteride, and minoxidil. So I wanted to share with you this interesting study. It was 27 female patients, and it was a micro needling for 12 weeks. And you can see that we have a significant increase on the hair diameter, outperforming the results from the minoxidil. And this other study was also very interesting. It's a 22 patient with androgenetic alopecia, and they have injected the exosome. And when we compare with the saline solution, we have a very good improvement. So at the clinic, we use, of course, the HRLV, and we mixed it with 4 milliliter of saline solution, and we applied with the turtle pin, which is 9 very little needles at 0.5 millimeter, or we can also apply after laser treatment because we use the erbium laser. I think we are already late to show you the video after. So this is a before and after result after 5 sessions, and I think this is great result. And this is the other side, and we can see that the texture and the color of the skin totally change. This is another picture of a young boy, and you can see that after only 3 sessions, he sent me this selfie, and I thought it was funny. Regarding the vaginal area, we started a few years ago to try to improve all the vaginal dryness, itching, burning with the exosome. So we can apply the exosome or alone, or apply the exosome after a laser treatment or a radio frequency treatment. Exocobio showed that we increase the aquaporin 3, that we increase the human vaginal keratinocyte, and that we increase, of course, the production of hyaluronic acid, and that we have synergetic effect if we combine with erbium laser or radio frequency. So at the clinic, at the beginning, we decide to combine with the erbium laser, because we are safe, and because the shorter wavelengths of the erbium laser is more suitable for soft tissue and of course for vaginal rejuvenation. So a few years ago, we started a study on it was the first 10 cases. So we decided to perform 4 sessions of erbium laser and to apply 5 ml of the exosome right after, and ask the patient to stay lying down for 10 minutes. And we obtained really good results. I am working with regenerative medicine in the genital area for more than 12 years now. So at the beginning, it was only hyaluronic acid, then it was PRP, and then I went to microfat and nanofat grafting, and the results were amazing with long-lasting results. And when the patient told me, now I have my 18-year-old vagina back, but I have to tell that after this study, I was amazed by the results, and specifically on hydration. So I started to treat my patients who were suffering for vulvodynia. So you know that vulvodynia, it's a very difficult condition, that it's a chronic pain, and that we have about 16% of the population that suffer from this condition, and we don't know what to do with this patient. So I had a lot of patients coming from gynecologists of my area and saying, I don't know what to do with this patient. I said, okay, I will try to treat this patient with exosome. So in my opinion, it was not a good idea to use the erbium laser because they had too much pain. So I decided to treat this patient with the sectum radiofrequency and to apply the exosome. And This is some various aspects of vulvodynia, but when you look at the guy's result, I was also very impressed by the result, because of course it's not a cure to vulvodynia, but we can help patients with something that it's really easy to perform. I wanted just to share two case reports, in my opinion, very interesting, in the urinary incontinence. So they decide to put a platelet-derived exosome in an hydrogel and to restore the muscle. So first of all with rats, and then with a porcine model. And we showed that we have a functional restoration of the muscle, and I think this is a very interesting and promising therapy. I wanted to share also this second case report and second study on ovarian tissue. So in this case, it was umbilical mesenchymal stem cells, and they measure the estrogen level. It was an ex vivo study, and we can see that we have a significant increase in estrogen levels by injecting this exosome in the ovarian tissue, and also the gene expression change with the enhanced expression of the receptors, and also that they showed that we have also a cellular proliferation and the decrease of the apoptosis marker. So I think that it's not, of course, a treatment that we can apply today, but it's really promising, and in my opinion, we have something very interesting on our hands, even if we, of course, need a lot of studies. Thank you for your attention.
Wow, thank you so much for your great lecture. Wow, it's very impressive and surprising. Actually, we are trying to market our third product, ASE IRLB, for intimate rejuvenation, which is our commitment to try help a lot of female patients in the world. And thank you so much for your great lecture, Dr. Sophie. Okay, our third speaker is Dr. Adrian Gaspar from Argentina, and he has. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me being here for the first time in this event. I'm going to show you our research in and experience with the use of these RAES exosomes applied to the gynecological area. But specifically, I'm going to show you, this is a randomized controlled trial that we've been conducting for the last 2 years. Actually, 18 months was the follow-up. But what is curious about this research is that we decided to treat patients that they wouldn't have a good result or a satisfactory result with other regenerative therapies. So it's very important for us as gynecologists to understand that what we have been taught is not true. Menopause doesn't accelerate biological aging. Menopause is not a disease, and that is what we've been taught in our residence. We've been taught that menopause and aging are related to a gradual deterioration of tissues and organs that create vulnerable scenarios. That is not true. I'm going to show you which is the real problem our patients are facing with aging. And the problem is not the menopause, it's the scenario. And we need to understand that what we call GSM is an umbrella under which we group symptoms derived from urethral atrophy, vaginal atrophy, but normally this is a normal situation. There should not be symptoms when patients reach the menopause. But what is behind all this problem? It's not the lack of estrogens. That is false, completely false, because women really have estrogens after menopause. They have estrogen from the adrenal glands. But what is behind all this? This is a physiological scenario. Because if not, the 100% of our patients would suffer symptoms, and it is not true. According to the North American Menopause Society, if you see 100% of our patients will have urogenital atrophy, but only 50%, which is a lot, I believe it's more than that, will have symptoms in their lifetime. It's a matter of time. But if you compare these incidents with breast cancer, for example, 0.3% after menopause, or cardiovascular disease, only 1%, which is huge, and it's increasing because of the scenario. So this is the problem, a non-physiological scenario. It's a low-grade, minimal, persistent inflammation. Because with the lack of estrogens, we will have morphological changes. The vaginal mucosa is not a real mucosa because we don't have submucosa, we don't have muscularity of the mucosa, but it has the four main functions of a mucosa: protection, secretion, the possibility to respond to stimulus, and also secretion and lubrication. So there is a lot of immune cells working there as happens in the skin. It's the same. But if you have as an inflammatory scenario, these morphological changes, mostly the dramatical diminishment in humidity, lubrication, temperature, rugosity, elasticity, and strength will bring symptoms. Which symptoms? Vaginal dryness, itching, burning, dyspareunia. But it's not the lack of estrogens, it's the inflammatory scenario. The inflammatory response is a natural way that we have to deal with chronic injuries. The inflammatory responses are integral part of the normal innate immune response. In the last 20 years, we have learned that the aging process is an inflammatory scenario, and it is called inflammaging. Actually, it is called oxy-inflammaging. So these are the main factors that triggers inflammation. You see, visceral fat, mitochondrial dysfunction is a plague, it's a pandemic situation, and the senescent cells. And behind all this, when you have all these situations, your body understands that there is a constant injury, and when you have a constant injury, then the acute inflammation due to ages, advanced glycation end products, free radicals, heavy metals, intense electric-magnetic fields, they will trigger inflammation. Why? Because they promote a pathological matrix. And the only mechanism that we learned after 3.5 million of years of evolution is how to clean the matrix through inflammation. So the acute inflammation will lead us to a complete resolution. But if you have a chronic stimulation of injury, then there wouldn't be a balance. You may end with scar formation or with an overexpressed inflammasome. Overexpressed inflammasome is a chronic GSM. If you see that woman with bleeding, pale, secretion, burning, itching, the mucosa has completely, it's a hyalinosis, a pachydermatization. That is not a normal scenario. And when you have that inflammation, you know what happened? You see the extracellular matrix over there, you have the integrins and the macrosensitive adapters that are filaments. Remember the cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton inside the cells is not a skeleton, actually. They have piezoelectric properties, and they communicate direct to the genes. And the genes, it is called extracellular matrix shiftness. And this will promote epigenetic expression that will in turn activate inflammatory pathways. So this is an overexpressed inflammasome. Let's see, it's not working. Next slide, please. For some reason, this is not working. Okay, you see, this is a balance between anti-inflammatory pathway, AMPK, inflammatory pathway, the activation of kappa beta nuclear factor, and then you have a eicosanoid and resolvins that will balance the pro-inflammatory response and the solution response. So this is the inflammasome. The inflammasome, I'm not going to talk about in detail about this, but this is what is behind GSM, symptomatic GSM. This is an overexpressed inflammasome, which is a complex group of proteins, mostly NLRP3 is the most important. This NLRP3 will affect our SASP phenotype, which is the overexpression of these pro-inflammatory cytokines production, the inflammasome will promote greater presence of senescent cells due to this overreactive SASP. So chronic or excessive inflammasome activation can have detrimental effect on stem cells due to persistent inflammation. And this will lead us to a reduced regenerative capacity. So you will have atrophy, but you wouldn't have the possibility to regenerate. So in tissues such as muscles, mucosas in general, mostly genital mucosa, brain, mesenchymal stem cells may have impaired self-renewal capacity. And that is the problem. It's not the lack of estrogens. If you give estrogen to a patient, you will have an improvement. That is the gold standard option of treatment. But why? Because estrogens have a genomic effect, modulating the production of microRNA through the production of exosomes and stem cells. So you see, an overexpressed inflammasome and SASP will be characterized by tissue loss, osteoporosis, sarcopenia, neurodeterioration, vaginal atrophy, symptomatic vaginal atrophy. So it is important to understand that this inflammasome has a yin-yang effect because as we have learned, we have understood that the effect could be regeneration or deterioration depends on the pathological or physiological context. So understanding the differentiation of mesenchymal totipotent cells during the senescent process has vital implications for quality of life in our patients after menopause. And a lot of data has been published that we know that mesenchymal stem cells play a key role in the production of exosomes through regenerative and anti-inflammatory properties. So this is the most important things to understand. You have a stem cell that will produce a lot of exosomes, microRNA. So this schematic diagram showing the disbalance between self-renewal and differentiation. So if you don't have the possibility to produce this, you may suffer two situations. On the one hand, deterioration, less differentiation in cancer. On the other hand, defect in self-renewal. If you have this defect in self-renewal, that is what we call symptomatic GSM. So the function of microRNA is related to the regulation of gene expression, and in this way, microRNA is complementary to messenger RNA. And so this is a complex network that works like a perfect biology that controls hundreds of different targets of different genes. So several microRNAs have been identified that regulate stem cells maintenance, proliferation, and aging. So we understand that menopause and aging, this is the problem. The problem is that these important regulators of cellular senescence. So if we have a chronic symptomatic GSM, this is the inflammatory aging of the vaginal mucosa and genitals in general that lead to degeneration and subsequent injuries. If I give you estrogens, I will solve part of the problem, but that is not the cause. You are not suffering from GSM because you don't have estrogens. The problem is the scenario. Several studies have shown that aging can affect the proliferation and differentiation capacity of the vaginal mucosa, but the molecular mechanism behind all this has not been understood completely yet. It's a matter of time. So microRNAs in cellular agents in the genital area, it is maintained by genomic actions of estrogens. So it will be affected after menopause. So if you still are producing estrogens, you may not have problems, but the problem will be after menopause. Symptomatic vaginal atrophy results from the presence of an overexpressed inflammasome and SASP that intensifies in the absence of estrogens. If there had not been an overexpressed inflammasome and SASP, then the performance of the genital mucosa wouldn't have been affected. So this is the real truth, okay? We are living longer. So let me introduce our randomized control trial that we are looking forward to seeing published this year soon in collaboration with other doctors from Latin America. 25 symptomatic postmenopausal patients who did not have a good response to other regenerative treatments were recruited for this trial. You see, 13 were randomized to vaginal estriol, and 12 were randomized to exosomes, RAES-derived exosomes. Participants were randomly assigned to the exosome group, 12 patients, or to the standard therapy group with vaginal estriol, 13 patients, depending on the day of consultation. For example, those who came Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were randomized for exosomes, and those Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for estriol. The research was approved by our ethical committee at the Euroclínica of Mendoza University in Argentina. The exosome group was treated with 2 cc of exosome intimate care complex applied to the vulva and vagina. 3 sessions, 3 weeks apart, either injected or by drug delivery. The control group was treated with the gold standard option of treatment, receiving vaginal tablet of 0.5 milligrams per day during 30 days. Both groups were followed for 18 months, and the follow-up was, during the follow-up we did vaginal health index score, as female sexual function index, pH, vaginal health index score, cytology, and vaginal mucosa biopsies. We have comorbidities in the exosome groups, hypertension, 16.7%, breast cancer, 25% of patients, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, 8.3%. We didn't accept breast cancer survivors in this group. We only have hypertension, 23.1%, and type 2 diabetes, 15.4%. So these are the evaluation. I don't have much more time, but I want to show you the results. The exosome group significant improvement during average 13 months. In the other hand, estriol group average 3 months with a statistical significant improvement of 0.05. You will see here 0.005 for pain and 0.05 for FSFI. This is, for example, pain evolution in patients treated with exosomes. This is the pain evolution in patients treated with estriol, and this is patients treated with exosome. The Wilcoxon test for statistical analysis, you see an average of 13 months of asymptomatic patients. This graph compares blue bars, average month of sustained improvement in exosome group, 13 months, and the red bars, average post-treatment pain score. You see exosomes and estriol. So if you see in this other graph the evolution of visual analog scale, at 12 months follow-up, the majority of patients were asymptomatic. And this is the Wilcoxon test, P0.00 statistical significance in exosomes, and this is what happened in estriol. So again, another graph showing the month of improvement in both groups, and this is the improvement in comorbidities and without comorbidities. You see, patients suffering from breast cancer or hypertension or diabetes, which means overexpressed inflammasome, had less response. But even that situation, they had a good response. And this is what happened over the time with patients with comorbidity. Cytology, the same. You see the green line indicates the improvement in the exosome group, and the blue one, the improvement in estriol. It seems that when you stop giving estrogens, the situation reappears. Why? Because you are not treating the cause. And this is the same with pH. So this is the way we work. This is the laser I'm using. This is the way I do. You don't need to go too deep because the atrophic vagina, the mucosa is no more than 100 microns, or even less. If you go 19 microns will be enough, because the mucosa is more responsive, has more absorption than the skin. So this is practically non-invasive. And then we apply the exosomes. Next, please. We are finishing. Well, we did biopsies, go back. biopsies and immunohistochemistry and hematoxylineosin. I'm going to show you our findings. This is a severe atrophy in the introitus, and this is a complete trophic introitus in the same patient. Another result with severe vulvodynia, itching, burning. And this is another case with this patient was suffering from lichen sclerosus. And in this is the same patient, the histological findings you will see in this video, a complete atrophic mucosa. You will see with more magnification that these are hyalinosis, and you see no vessels, no papillas in the epithelium. There is hyalinosis, suffering. You see here, no vessels at all, only 7 layers of cells, so it's a complete SASP and inflammasome overexpressed. And look at what happened after, this was in the exosome group. You see a complete restorative reaction, papillomatosis, acanthosis, vascularization in all patients. All patients. I don't have more time. These are more results, and let me go to the immunohistochemistry, because this is really interesting. We found positive fibroblasts for procollagen type 1. This is the marker we used, up to more than 800 microns depth in these severe. You see the brown cells with the arrows are indicating the positive fibroblast after the treatment for procollagen type 1. To sum up, exosomes demonstrated superior and longer effectiveness compared to vaginal estriol. Its regenerative properties appear to promote sustained tissue repair, which could revolutionize the treatment of this severe condition. So, however, studies with larger sample size and multicenter analysis are required to confirm these findings. In conclusion, the use of exosomes represents, in my opinion, a promising alternative for us as gynecologists to deal with this problem, offering significant and long-lasting improvement compared to standard therapy. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Gaspar. Wow. So we will see a very great publication very soon from Dr. Gaspar team. Our next speaker is Dr. Alamri from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Actually, Dr. Ali is our heaviest user with our product. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for invitation, and thank you for all of you to come to our presentation today. Actually, my colleague spent a long time to talk about the theory, and I invite you also in the main conference of MCAS. I will talk about more theory about the regenerative medicine and exosome in dermatology and aesthetic medicine. Today, end of the first part, I will concentrate on the clinical application, so it will not take long time. I am happy to start the the most safest exosome and more functional exosome in the world. I start to use the ASCII exosome since the beginning, I can't imagine the result that I have with my patients. So I would like to thank the ExcoBio because they add a lot of value to my CV because the happiness of my patients. So, you know, they have a lot of job to produce those exosomes. So they have the first part to give us the most effective and the most safest exosome. And after that, you have to use those exosomes in our clinical practice with different techniques to provide the result for our patients. So what we use now in my clinic, I treat my patient for skin and hair. The average volume and session is about 2.5 to 5 ml, and the frequency is 4 to 5 sessions per 1 month. The maintenance session is every 3 months, and injection technique, I use sometime off-label use micro-injection with topical application, and sometime I use the laser as drug delivery system. Yeah, we are talking about off-label use of the micro-injection. What I use, it's actually small needles, so it's about 1 mm or 2 mm. So it's equal to the microneedling radiofrequency. So we are still in the label use. So, for example, I use the ASCII exosome to treat the dark circle. As you see, before and after, there is a lot regeneration for the skin texture and also the pigmentation. So the next, so if you can see the next case, do you see the improvement between the up and down? So the improvement in the texture, improvement in the volume, and improvement in the pigmentation. So in this case, actually, we have a lot of challenges with tractional alopecia. I tried the 4 sessions of the ASCII exosome hair to treat this case, and actually this photos is sent by the patient. I didn't do it. The patient sent it to me because she is very happy about the result. So toluene of lithium, I use it also with micro-injection, and as you see, also the improvement in the texture of the hair, the volume of the hair, and also the color. This patient has androgenic alopecia. I combined the treatment with the ASCII exosome and Regenera. And after the first session was with the Regenera, the second session, it was pure ASCII exosome, and we see improvement in the result. This case is also with the androgenic alopecia. I combine it with the PRP for 4 sessions, and actually it's amazing result. Here it's pure solo ASCII exosome with micro-injection, and this one is after 4 sessions. This case as well, but the interesting thing here, do you see also the improvement in the color? The gray color was improved also with this case after 4 sessions. Androgenic alopecia, again, after 4 sessions. And after that, actually, I love the scars, and treat the scars. My patient coming from worldwide to treat their scars, especially acne scars and surgical scars. This patient, I did with her 4 sessions of ASCII exosome with the CO2 laser. I use the drug delivery system. I make a small opening with the CO2 laser, and after that, I do micro-injection and application of the exosome with the occlusive for 2 hours. This patient has completely healed acne scar after 4 sessions. This patient is another example with the actually severe scars, and as you see, the big difference. This patient, I received her in the ER. She came with the open wound at the end of my clinic, and I tried to close the wound with the simple suture. And she told me, "Doctor, it's not that the proper suture for me. I need it as a plastic surgery doctor." I told her, "Don't worry, we have the other solution later. Let us to solve the problem now." And after that, I started to treat her with CO2 laser and the ASCII exosome. Do you see there is no more of the scar? So this is a post-brachoplasty scar. Do you see the mild hypertrophy and the pigmentation after 4 sessions? This is the big difference. This patient with abdominoplasty, hyperpigmentation scar, it's almost resolved. Surgical scars, post-surgery direct, in middle of the treatment, and after 4 sessions. This result is after 4 months. This, the lupus, discoid lupus, I have this patient that she was treated long time with the systemic treatment. There was no improvement on the hair and the skin. I used for her combination of the ASCII exosome, hair and the skin. After 4 sessions, as you see, it's almost completely resolved, and also we have hair restoration. This patient with the lupus scalp, actually, patient has a lot of itching and hair loss. Do you see the loss of inflammation now in the other side? This patient, again, as you see, the huge erythema, and after 2 sessions, actually, in this case, a big improvement. This patient also a good example for lichen planus. This interesting case, I have this boy that he has alopecia multiocularis. Unfortunately, this patient has allergy of steroid. So I have no other option rather than the oxyxosome hair. I start him to treat it with the oxyxosome. After 7 sessions, actually, we have those excellent result. As you say, his clothes, we started in the winter and the result was in the summer. So we can use it for the inflammatory active lesion. I use it also for active acne, and after 1 session, I find those results. Suppression of the active acne and improvement of the scars as well. Burn scar. This patient has chronic burn scar with the hyperpigmentation and ugly scar, but with the oxyxosome and CO2 laser, after 4 sessions, I get that result. This patient as well has hypertrophic scar with the allergy of the steroid. I use the oxyxosome with the ablative laser, and after 4 sessions, I have this result. This patient also is a small girl that she came in my ER also an end of my clinic before the production of the oxobulb. Fortunately, we have in the Excobio the topical exosome. At that time, we didn't have the topical exosome. So I used the ASCII face as topical over this wound, and I just applied the normal dressing. And after 1 month, actually, after 1 week, the inflammation completely healed. This is the last case that I have it in my on-call. This patient has drug eruption and was admitted to ICU. Actually, when he's awake, he told me, please, doctor, I have to get married after 3 months and I'm worried about the scars. Actually, I start to treat him with the topical exobalm and micro-injection of the oxyxosome, and this is in middle of the treatment, and this is the end result, and we're still starting to treat him with the laser. So it's amazing result that we can solve those scars and get the happiness of our patient. Thank you so much.
Oh, Dr. Alex, thank you so much for your great cases. And it's my lecture again. So now we are over time. So please let me give you some kind of update from Escobio. And we are Exosome Industry Creator. You will see at IMCA's venue tomorrow, you will see maybe around 80 companies. Most of them are, all of them are our followers. But you know, we have been generating 2 million clinical cases, 33 publications, and more than 70 patents. I'm doing a lot of lectures to see doctors every year. So please take photo of this for you to choose the right exosome technology and exosome products. Why Escobio is a global leader? Because we are the biggest investor, and we are second to none in terms of scientific publication, scientific validation and publication. And you can scan this QR code to download every of our publication. And here, next slide, please. We have actually many different types of exosome, but we started from human exosome. But in European country, for example, we are doing plant stem cell exosome technology. And more and more people are using exosome, especially Kim Kardashian has been using our product because we know her doctor is one of our customers in the United States. We have 3,000 customers who have ever purchased our product. And it's all about the quality. So now you are seeing the world's largest GMP manufacturing facility to produce, technically speaking, IV injection grade of exosomes to develop, which develop process. And we do a lot of quality control, and we control water and utility. So this is the simple exosome production process. For last more than 8 years, we have been upgrading our exosome manufacturing process. Now we are here. This is the only exosome company who can remove almost all the impurities from the conditioned media. You can see that our impurity is, our purity is 99.94%, which means that some exosome companies, they are saying that they have 1 trillion exosome particles in their products, or they have 30 billion particles of exosome in their product. But you know, if you have a real highest quality of exosomes, the particle number is not important. The quality of exosome is the most important thing, should be validated by publications. And we characterize all of our exosome in terms of proteins, growth factors, lipids, something like that. Especially we developed plant stem cell based exosome. We are the only company, but other companies are selling usually plant extract, something like that. You know, we identified plant exosome specific markers, as you can see, named TET8, and we are submitting many more manuscripts for publication to explain the mechanism of action based on lipids. And you are seeing that Escobio is the only company who achieved this patent from the European Patent Office. So my part is always science. I'm a scientist to bridge scientific discoveries into your clinics. So we did a lot of profiling analysis to share this information, like this enzyme. And we found a very strong anti-inflammatory action from our exosomes. And this is already submitted for another publication. We have compared all the different batches of human exosomes to develop exosome-based drug. And then in terms of lipid, you know, exosomes are lipid nanoparticles, and we should analyze all the functions mediated by those lipids. And this is another publication. We found our exosomes can deliver important lipids, and then they can give you a new type of cellular signaling. And we found our exosomes are enriched with the good lipids for skin barrier and cellular signaling. And our exosomes are found to deliver microRNA. MicroRNA became another Nobel Prize last year. And then the first microRNA is LT7. And you can see that our human exosomes, as well as rose stem cell exosome, are delivering microRNA LT7. And then this is about cross-kingdom regulation. And already scientists found these microRNAs can work for our skin, anti-inflammation, for reparation, or anti-scarring. And you can remember some of these microRNAs in terms of number. LT7 is a very strong anti-inflammatory microRNAs. And then other, LT7 means longer hair. And one microRNA named 574 can induce neocollagenesis. Every time I do my lecture, many doctors are asking how plant exosome can induce neocollagenesis, because microRNAs 574 is contained in our large stem cell exosomes. And microRNA 1246 is also, they can induce neocollagenesis. 122 is good for hair growth. And this is our profiling data from our human exosome. You can compare left side with our data. You can see many good microRNAs. As well as here, you can see LT7 for anti-inflammation, 122 for hair growth, 130, 574, 1246 for neocollagenesis, 21, 23, 29 for anti-scarring or anti-keloid. And then this is the comparison of our exosome product against other exosome technology. But you can use this checklist to know the truth on the exosome and their quality. And I'm going to stop here, and because of our limited time, and we are very glad to have a couple of questions to our speakers. Thank you. So we passed our timeline already. But let's try just to have one or two questions from our audience. If you have any questions, just raise your hand, and we will give our mic. Can you introduce yourself first?
Yes, I'm Dr. Raad Abdullah. I'm a dermatologist from Iraq. Thank you for this nice presentation. And I ask our nice trainers here and about their experience and the sensitivity or allergy or hypersensitivity to this product. And thanks again.
Thank you for this question. Actually, this is a very important question, and this is sometimes the first question that the patient asks about. Is there any side effect or allergy of those kind of technology? My experience with the ASCII exosome, I have used more than 5,000 files. So I haven't seen any allergy for the this exosome. And actually, if you know all studies about the exosome and the purification of the exosome, what we have read in all studies from the ExcoBio, so we are sure that it's safe and pure. So in my experience, nothing happened.
Thank you. We have another question over there.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for these lectures about exosome. I am Professor Dr. Haidar Sabak from the Iraq. I would like to ask Dr. Ali about how can act exosome, what is the mechanism of action of exosome on the inflammatory disease like lichen planus, discoid lupus erythematosus, and for acne vulgaris, and how can act on immunological disease like alopecia areata. This is the first question. The second question, how can you apply exosome with CO2? Which mechanism? By which mechanism? Injection, before or after, the same day or after that? Thank you.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you for those questions. The first question, as you know, the exosome has a lot of immune modulator. So interleukins and the cytokines can work to suppress the immune system. And this is the way that we have used. And also cation pathways can also suppress also the immune system in the active acne, and as you say also the interleukins in the atopic dermatitis. So all doing the same, working in the same way. The second question regarding the how can apply the exosome after CO2 laser. The CO2 laser, we are using the drug delivery system. It make like holes in the skin, and we use those holes to saturate the skin with the exosome. So I apply it directly after the like the microneedling radiofrequency. But in some cases, actually, I apply it and I inject it with microneedling in the same session. The next day, I continue the treatment with the exobalm, the topical exobalm exosome.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for you joining for our first session. And let's take a break for 15 minutes, and let's get together again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, doctors.
Thank you. Thank you.
Time is late.
We're going to have a short break. It was originally 15 minutes, but we're very late in the schedule, so let's try to make it only 5 minutes, please. 5 minute break.
Byong.
5.
Dr. Byong. Dr. Byong. Dr. Byong.
The 5.